everybody, Edo here, and this is The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. The good folks at Cosmos sent me along a copy, and this game has certainly received many accolades, and I was excited to play it. And actually, I've played it more on Board Game Arena digitally because of the current gaming situation, but, you know, it's just as good physically as well, actually. I strongly prefer playing it in person, but online's fun. So, The Crew is a very vanilla, straightforward trick-taking game that incorporates, it's a cooperative trick-taking game that incorporates essentially little missions or objectives for the different players to work towards to then go through a series of a story and a sequence. The story's pretty light. You actually get a little bit, there's like the rules in this logbook, but you get to each chapter, you read about a paragraph, and it sets out the rules and you play. But it's a nice little twist. But the big thing's really the way a cooperative trick-taking game gets you thinking. So, in terms of the cards, and certainly if you've played spades, this is very familiar, or hearts, or diamonds, or any of those trick-taking games. But in a trick-taking games, we're going to be playing cards with numbers and suits into the center. We'll go around, and the player with the highest number of the leading suit wins the trick, and then you play again. So you're playing a series of hands, and there's a couple other rules. But so, in this game, there are 3 suits. There's blue with the circle icon, there's pink with the square icon, and there's yellow with the X icon. Also, there are the 4 rocket cards. The normal cards go 1 to 9, the rockets go 1 to 4, and these are considered the trump cards in a normal trick-taking game like spades. The spades would be the trump cards. So basically, again, a player's going to lead. If they lead with a certain color, everyone else has to follow if they have that color. So if they play that 6, somebody else might play a 7, somebody else might play a 4. If they don't have that color, if they do have it, they have to play it. If they don't have it, then they can play anything they want. And if it's just some random color, they lose. And if it's a trump card, the rocket, they win. And if like multiple rockets are playing, the higher rocket will win as well. And you can also just start with rockets if you want to do that. So what makes this game different and interesting? So this cooperative element is, where everyone, you can deal everyone out their cards. And then, based on the mission, you're going to have a series of these objectives, which essentially you're going to like take one and put it in front of, you put it in the center. Like the first mission has 1 objective. Subsequent missions will have like 2 or 3 or all these other tokens. I'll talk about that in a second. But the player with the 4 rocket in their hand is the captain. They're going to go first, and in player order, you have to pick one of the objectives. And now in the first round, there's only 1, so we're going to give it to the captain. In a round where there were like more of them, people would be selecting. If this is in front of me, what this means is I need to take the 9, the green 9. I might have it already. It might be in somebody else's hand, but before the game's done, before we run out of cards, I have to take it. And in fact, the moment I do, we win. That's all you have to do. So you have this little micro objective, and what's really interesting about it is trick-taking games are all about looking at your hand, thinking about the cards you have and what other players have, but now you really have to think about how am I going to ensure that I either win this or run out of cards or make it all work. To make it actually a game and a little bit more complicated than people just discussing all this, there are communication restrictions. You can't talk to the other players about your hand. You are given 1 communication token, which you can play anytime, not during a trick, where you take a card that's either, let me get a different one. The card either has to be the highest number of that color in your hand, the lowest number of that card in your hand, or the only of that card. If I had a bunch of cards and the 8 was not the highest, lowest, or only, I couldn't communicate it. But what you're going to do is you're going to place the card on the table and put this communication token. Top means this is my highest card in the suit. Middle means only. Bottom means lowest. Which can be important because if say I have this objective to get this green 9, I might tell the other players, assuming it's true, but a useful piece of information would be like, I don't know, would be like, if it was the case, you know, my only green card is a 1. Well, that means like I'm not going to get that 9 with green. So it probably means to the other players like, hey, let me clear out this card. Somebody play green. Let me get rid of it. And then, wait, let me get rid of it so that, oh, that wouldn't work. Okay, sorry. I might want to communicate this just to say, I don't have this 9. This is my only green, so I'm going to have to get that 9 some other way. And what would typically be happening is I'll put out a trump, you throw the 9 if you have it, or whatever. So it's really interesting. And then you go through, you get more objectives. Oh, these little dark side of the moon or stone or pebbles, I don't know what these are. It probably says, but basically if you take a card and you're putting a piece of information down, you like put this in your hand just to remind you have this card on the table if you forgot, because you can still play it. And you can only communicate one thing per entire round. Like, not a trick, but the whole thing. There'll be more of these different, like more of these out. You'll have to do them. There are special things that happen, which like these number tokens, which could say you have to do in a certain order, or something with the arrows, this goes before the other, or, I mean, I don't want to like ruin some of the stuff, but like there are other win-lose conditions where people have to do certain things in certain ways that end up being restrictions that make it hard. And it's hard. It's a little bit about the luck of the draw and really managing it, and it totally works. This game is fantastic. I will say, I like the speed of trick-taking games. Like, when I'm playing a trick-taking game, I like seeing my cards, thinking of it, dunk, 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 playing, and like having a velocity. This is much slower than your normal trick-taking game. You're going to have to go through this process of picking the trick, figuring out who's first. That's not that big of a deal, but picking what objectives go to which player as you go around. Then thinking about, should I communicate? When do I communicate? And trying to keep track of what objectives you need. Like, it's very much not about you winning. It's about everyone winning. So it just requires a ton more thought. And to me, I found that, like, I got over it, and you get used to it, and you play lots of it, and it's fun, and it's fine. It makes it a little bit more of a puzzly experience, which isn't really what I typically think of as from a trick-taking game. And so, like, trick-taking games to me are really about, like, crafty power plays and sort of owning the table. This is much more about, like, puzzling out what to do with the team with limited information. But it's fantastic. So if you, like, just recognize it's that type of game, and I think, it's not like the box. I think everyone describes it as a trick-taking game. Well, it does say a cooperative trick-taking game, but I think if you think of it more of like a puzzly game and more of like a escapee room game vibe, I think you'll find it to be fantastic. If you're like, I really love trying to shoot the moon and like playing a trick-taking game and spades with the trump cards and spades and stuff like that. Like, I think that would you might be a little off-put by it depending on what kind of play style you have, but. It's small, cheap, easy to recommend, tons of fun, very accessible. So check out The Crew. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.